Good morning and happy Monday to you. My name is LaShonda Brown and welcome to Bootstrap Biz Advice Live, where I teach service providers how to work less and live more by leveraging tech and YouTube. I have so much to tell you about, but we have some folks who are also watching on LinkedIn. So I want to start with a little bit of housekeeping. If you are watching this in the replay, please know that you can still comment, and I always go back and look at those. But if you are watching live, I would encourage you to like this video because it helps to reach more people. With that being said, I have some receipts I want to share with you. We had an incredible January. I even took like a little screenshot of the progress, my friends. Thank you so much for your support because your support made January a record-breaking month for this channel. We gained 27,000 plus subscribers in 1 month on this channel. And because of that significant growth, I decided that the Bootstrap Creator Challenge for the month of February would be YouTube growth. So whether you are trying to gain 100 subscribers so that you can start using YouTube Live, or you want to gain 1,000 so that you can have a monetized channel, this challenge is going to be for you. So I have a few more other announcements, then we will hop into our interview and we will land the plane with a live Q&A. I have some questions queued up for Antonio, and then I'd encourage you, if you have questions as well, you can drop them into the chat. So if you look on the community post tab on YouTube, you're going to see a little graphic that looks like this, but it's actually square. If you are a Bootstrap creator, I would encourage you go to that post, open up that Canva project, and then let me know what your goals and intentions are for the challenge. That is where we're going to keep track of everything. If you have recently joined the Bootstrap creators on YouTube, you know that I love leveraging collaborative Canva projects because of Visual Suite 2.0. I can have a Canva sheet, a Canva doc, a presentation, all in one thing. So when we do challenges, when we do boot camps, there will always be one link to go to for everything. And so I have started the YouTube challenge document. And so I encourage you, go ahead in there, put in your channel link, what you currently are at, where you would like to grow to, so that we can implement strategies throughout the month to help you to hit your goals. We will be doing a work with me session on Friday. So as you start to look at those YouTube growth tactics inside of that project, Friday will be a great time for you to ask questions and for you to start implementing. So Friday, 9 o'clock, we will be having a work with me session. And I am really excited that one of the Bootstrap creators will be the workshop presenter for February. You guys know Alan has been on the channel for live streams. We did a couple live streams about podcast marketing, but I am giving him the stage to teach about podcast monetization. He runs multiple podcasts, including his own. He's got years of experience producing and hosting. And so for those of you who are trying to venture into video podcasting or wanting to make money with your podcast, he is going to be able to help you. So I am thrilled to give him this opportunity this month. And for those of you who work 9 to 5s, we will be having this particular workshop at 6 p.m. Eastern to accommodate those of you who work so that you can watch it live when you get off of work. So I'm so glad for his flexibility with that. So with that, we are going to be hopping into our live interview. But before, I would like to introduce myself as a sponsor of today's live stream. This live stream is brought to you by the Bootstrap Club. Some things never make it to Instagram, and for that level of small biz realness, join the club. When you join the Bootstrap Club for free, you'll start getting access to my behind the scenes emails about my pivot from being a burnout service provider to a mindful full-time content creator. I share my ups and downs in this private format because I think it's important to be transparent if I'm going to be the mentor that I always wanted. Thousands of people from all around the world have joined the club to receive my strategy emails, and I would love for you to join us. To sign up, go to LaShondaBrown.com, click on Join the Bootstrap Club, drop your name and email address, and I will add you to the list. I hope you have a blessed Monday, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. All right, my friends, it is time to welcome our guest to the Bootstrap Biz Advice live show. Antonio, thank you so much for being here.
And thank you for having me. Can we just hit pause for a quick second and celebrate that nearly 30,000 number of growth for subscribers? That's ridiculous. I'm hearing about people
Insane, right?
getting 18 people, 22 people, 2,000 people. Come on, nearly 30,000 people. I
It
have
may
to
not
ask.
happen again, but I took a
Oh
screenshot.
no, no, we're gonna put that into existence. It's happening again. It's gonna be even bigger for February. And I'm sorry, I'm nosy. If you had to attribute one or two things that led to that growth, what
Mhm.
would you say it is?
Okay, so two things. I would say number one is you have to look at your analytics and double down on what's working. I was not looking at my numbers and reading them properly up to that point. And so by going in there, I was able to see where am I gaining traction? What are my top 10 videos? I just came off the 12 days of Canva in December. And so a lot of people started binging that content. So having a very strategic playlist based on the videos that were the most popular on my channel was super helpful. But here's the other thing, and I'm not even going to lie about it. I discovered promoting videos on YouTube. I had been playing around with ad spend on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and YouTube, and I was trying to see which one got the best conversion rate. And I'm telling you right now, I have some videos as we speak that are converting with a $20 ad spend and gaining me over 1,000 subscribers. So I
Oh,
have figured it
hold
out.
on, hold on. We got to say that again. You said a $20 ad spend and a
$20.
thousand subscribers.
$20.
I can't even figure out what that CPM is, but it's ridiculous. That
The
is,
return on investments is there.
come on.
So yes, I
Sometimes
can I will show you, I'll show you my back end once we hit end stream if you want to see. It's phenomenal. I've learned so much over the past month. But yeah, yeah, those two things. Strategic content and then leveraging paid ad spend, but understanding how the algorithm works with that. So
Oh,
yeah,
I
I'll be
love it.
honest.
And I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to be talking about other stuff, but I love that. But I also just got to say, I love that in this day and age, we talk so much about organic growth. And organic growth is great. It's important. And sometimes as little as $20 can have such an
$20.
amazing return. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, yes. And here's the thing. I had a suspicion that I had great content. I just needed more eyeballs. And so I just wanted to prove a point. Like, is it truly that I just need more people to look at it? Because if they look at it, they'll subscribe. And that's what it was. I just needed more eyeballs. So for some of you, that may be the only problem. More incentive for you to join the Bootstrap creators. It's literally $50 a month because the predominant income that I make is from tech partners. So I'm able to make it super accessible for small business owners. So I'm going to tell you guys literally what I did, along with some other things that have worked in the past. So that's what we're doing this month.
You said something, you dropped a gem that is going to be a piece of content for you. I had a feeling I had great content. I just needed more eyeballs. And for that
Yeah.
person that's watching, that's curious if their content is good or not, test it with a small ad spend. Guess what? You're going to find out like, oh, I thought this was good. Maybe it's not. So I love what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
So I love actually putting the data to work. And, at a certain point, you just have to test it, just hold it with the open hand. Let's just see what the data says. But the data played in my favor, y'all. Played in my favor. So there you go.
And
So with
listen,
that,
I'm sorry.
look, you got to have your time to talk too. I want people to know who you are. Stop pumping me up. My word. This is for you. So with that being said, my mama Shonda came out. I need you to tell people your biz story because you had a wavy path to get here, just like most people have. So please tell the people, how did you get to where you are today as the author of the One Day Method?
Yeah, if I heard you correctly, you said a wavy path, and I like that language
Yes.
because it's pretty apropos of everything. Today, if you do a Google search of me, you'll see that I travel all across the globe as a leadership speaker, speaking on major stages, sometimes as big as 7,000 people, sometimes just 150 people. I'm the author of 5 different books. We'll talk some about the One Day Method, and Stop Living on Autopilot is my biggest book that came out about 5 years ago and is doing exceptionally well across the globe. And I do on one-on-one coaching, keynote coaching. But that's today, what's happening. However, if you rewind, my career began over 20 years ago in the television industry in New York City. I have the cliche story of moving to New York City with less than $1,000 in my bank account. I'm from small town Michigan, didn't know nobody. First person in my family to go to university. But I moved to New York City with this goal of breaking into the television industry. And guess what? After 3 years of sleeping on couches and working multiple jobs, doing this and that, I finally had my break in New York City. And for me, that led to a nearly 12 plus year career as a reporter and correspondent with major networks. Worked with everyone from Nickelodeon to NBC to PBS, BET networks, you name it. And then to abbreviate the story, around 2012, I reached a point where I realized I wanted to transition out of TV. TV had treated me good, but I think in many ways TV was a shadow career for me. We'll get into this maybe another day. I chose television simply because I wanted validation. I wanted to be picked, and I needed some inner healing and some work to take place. And then I transitioned to the leadership and development space, and that wasn't a fast journey. We can talk more about that if you want, making that transition from corporate to being able to sustain myself and my family on that income. And since doing that work as leadership and development speaker, as mentioned, I've been the author of 5 books. Yes, some of those have been published by major publishing houses, but I want to be clear, the first few ones were published by me. I had to be my own benefactor and invest in myself. I started off as a speaker, speaking on small college campuses all across the country, sometimes to 6 disinterested students, to now speaking to thousands of people all across the globe, to major brands that you know about. And so it's been a crazy trajectory. I make it sound easy, but there was a lot that's going on in between that led to the work that I'm able to do today.
So I love that simply because every part of our journey helps to create the person we are today, and so it's nothing's wasted. And I can totally see how your TV background helped prepare you for the season that you're in now. So I love that. Most of my audience already knows this, but my background was theater. And if you want to take it all the way back, I literally started as a 7-year-old performing at military bases for the troops, like literally. And so, I thought I was going to go to Broadway. And then I realized that there was no money there. Plan B was to own my own theater. Then I realized there wasn't no money there either. And then I started a video production company. For years, I was behind the camera. And after 10 years of doing that, I thought, oh, maybe I could get in front of it. Let's see what happens. And so here we are. And so I think it's just really cool to see how your experience stacks. It doesn't just disintegrate as you pivot and change. And so I think that's fantastic. You had a great foundation. And so you definitely are prepared to be where you are. Now, I am super, super nosy. And I always look at, when I read a book, especially in like the personal development, business development space, how do you choose to start the book? What is the most important thing that you want to communicate if people don't finish the book? And what you said is most lives are lost in the space between intention and action. So for you, why was that the most important thing for you to communicate to the reader?
Yeah, and you're talking about the book, the One Day Method that came out early last year. It's because I found that people just get moving when they wake up. We immediately use this typically as our alarm clock. We pull the phone out. We're on Instagram. We're on social media. We're getting our emails coming in. And the whole world is telling us what it wants from us via text messages, emails, all these different things. Before we ever just sat down and chilled and said, hey, what's most important about this day? In the book, it really starts with a really important question. And that question being, what will make today a success? If nothing else happens, big or small, personally or professionally, if this gets done, what will make today a success? So when we talk about that word intention, what it gives us is a North Star. Obviously, we all have a lot of to-do lists, so many different things that we want to do. But unfortunately, typically, we never set out what the North Star is, that most critical thing, that lever that moves everything. So what happens if we do not set that, all these other things come in from the world, and we'll get up working on somebody else's priority, somebody else's mission, someone else's North Star before we're honest with ourselves and what's most important to us. The way I like to think about this many times is that you think about like a computer and imagine just having a whole bunch of apps running at one time. If you have a whole bunch of apps running at one time or 5 million tabs open on your browser, like some of y'all watching right now, what does that lead to? It leads to a slower processing speed, slower RAM. Worst case scenario, what that can lead to is a crash. So when I talk about intention, I like to ask that simple, clear question: what will make today a success? And that will guide me moving forward with everything that I want to accomplish and what I want to do, so I don't get distracted from the unimportant. I don't want just somebody's urgent needs and this and that to get me off of track. I want to follow my North Star.
That's so good. And I was actually inspired to kind of take stock of some of the things that have really helped me along the way. So I'm going to withhold that until the end because I'm trying to see like how aligned are we? I feel like we're birds of a feather. And so far, so good. I completely co-sign what you just said. I thought this was really interesting because I think it's fun when authors take a really strong stance on something that seems to be like common knowledge. We can all agree with this. You think the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years, has derailed more lives than failure ever could? And I really want to know, what is your strong stance against that single question?
I used to love that question. I used to use that question in my coaching work, like so many different people. You can find that question in so many personal development and self help books. Uh, a friend of mine wrote a book, and I love the title of the book, and it is "In 5 years You Will Be Wrong." Because right now, if you ask yourself 5 years ago, what did I think I would be doing today? 9 times out of 10, you are not doing what you thought you would be doing. So I find that that question, it limits people from figuring out where they want to go. It's an overwhelming, it's a big picture question. And to rewind and to get more personal, the reason why this came up so important for me is because just a year ago in January 2025, folks may remember in Southern California, we experienced some horrible fires in West LA in the Altadena area of Los Angeles. And unfortunately, my family was one of the families that lost one of their homes. Our community was lost. Kids' school was lost. Local grocery store, local library, all those things just gone, evaporated over the course of a few days. And what was amazing as I was trying to figure out my life from there, I couldn't think in 5 year visions. I couldn't think in 1 year visions, even 1 week visions. And I had to get clear about what was most important about the day, what needed to get done today, whether that was talking to insurance companies, that would make it a success, whether that was uninterrupted time with my kids without the phone, that was a success, whether it was uninterrupted time with my wife, that was a success, whether it was writing, getting that therapy session on the books. And so I got to a place in real life where I couldn't think beyond the day. And that's where the 1 day method came from. And so thinking about 5 years, 3 year visions, and all those things, they paralyzed me. But I could figure out what would make today a success. So I think so many people, come on, in this day and age of AI and so many different things that are happening, this world is going to look different in 6 months, let alone in 5 years. So I'm not telling people not to have a vision for their life, not to have a North Star, not to have a direction that they're having. They're headed, but I want you to be flexible with the way that you're going to get there. So even if you do have a big picture vision of where you want to go, if you rewind from that big picture vision and say, okay, that's where I want to go, and what will make today a success to get me there, it will give you directed, focused, clear action. And the beautiful thing about that, LaShonda, is that when you do that on a daily basis, those days stack on top of one another. And that leads to a good week. That leads to a good quarter, a good year, and even 5 years down the road. So what we're talking about for folks who like to nerd out in business talk is the difference between lag measures and lead measures. Lag measures are the end goal: make an extra $100,000, have an extra 30,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel. You only know if you hit that at the end. But the question is, what can I do today to reach that goal? Make 5 extra sales calls, make a $20 ad spend on YouTube. What are those things that will lead to success today? So again, I don't like the question, what do you want your life to look like? What are your goals for 5 years? I'm more focused on what are you going to do today?
Well, and I think that's so helpful to think about because I had the thought the other day. I was like, what was I doing before the pandorama, like what did I think was going to happen in 2020? And I mean, you had sermons, you had podcasts all about 2020, the year of clear vision, and we were ready. We were ready to do something great. And that was like the first year I had even done like some semblance of like a vision board, and I had all this stuff mapped out. And I had even gone to a planning party with Laura Casey in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And by March, I took that planner and I said, the heck if I know. How would we expect for the entire world to be put in timeout for months? You know, none of us saw that coming. Who cares what your 5-year vision said? This is reality. This is life. And I think it's always been that way. It's just that we are hyper aware of how much things are subject to change. And so I think taking that pressure off to say, I don't need to be a fortune teller. The heck if I know what I'm doing in 5 years. But like you said, what can I do today to propel myself closer to the goal that I have for my life? And I will deal with tomorrow when tomorrow comes. So
Yeah.
I think that way helps take the pressure off, if nothing
Yeah.
else.
Let me follow up on that. I think what you just beautifully said. I never heard the panorama. I like that language. We have to remind ourselves that some windows only stay open for so long. We make assumptions that certain windows, certain opportunities are always going to be there. In 2020, to your point, let us know that. Remember that vacation you saved for so many years? Didn't happen. Remember being so fired up to see your kids walk across the stage at graduation, high school or university, but they had to do it on Zoom. It didn't happen because that window closed. Remember saying, oh, you know what? We should go visit Uncle so and so or Aunt so and so or Grandpa so and so because they're getting older. But guess what? They're no longer with us. That window closed. It didn't stay open. So there's this great Spanish proverb, and that Spanish proverb goes, tomorrow is often the busiest day of the week. Tomorrow is often the busiest day of the week because we're always pushing things off till tomorrow, but not focusing on what we could do today. And this just reminds me that in the year of 2025, get this, I've always had this big vision, LaShonda, for me and my family to every single year to spend a month abroad in a foreign country, soaking up a new culture, cuisine, community, and all of that. And guess what? In the year 2025, my family spent a total of 2 whole months out of the United States. And guess what? All it took was me losing absolutely everything for it to happen. For my bucket list to happen, a window has to close. I had to lose my house, right? So my request for everyone watching here right now who's stuck on those 5-year visions, waiting for some other day, is that today is the day. Don't wait. Don't wait for a life altering event like I did to start living the life you're supposed to be living. Don't wait for a bad health diagnosis. Don't wait for your house to burn down. Don't wait until you serve divorce papers. Don't wait until you get a DUI to say, maybe I have a substance abuse challenge. You are the life altering event that you've been waiting for. So I'm a great example of that. My bucket list happened because of tragedy, and that does not have to be the case. And the truth of the matter is, when I look back at all the excuses that I had why we didn't do those trips prior, I was like, oh, now's not the right time. You know, maybe we need to save a little bit more. Oh, the kids, this and that. They were all just excuses. I could have did that years ago, but I found reasons not to, as opposed to reasons to being willing to do it.
Well, you didn't got me fired up for no reason at all. I'm here in my yoga pants and fuzzy socks, but let me tell you, I saw a quote and I included it in as a prop from one of my recent sponsored posts. And it was a quote from Madam CJ Walker, who is like one of my sheroes. And she literally said, do not wait for opportunities, create them. And like as I started thinking about Black History Month and the impact that Madam CJ Walker had as the first Black female millionaire with hair care products, I'm like, here's the reality. She did not wait for someone to grant her permission to be a millionaire. She said, I want to be one and I'm going to do the work to get there. And because of that, there's a school in Virginia named after her. They were my rivals in high school. And it's like, the reality is you can have that impact as soon as you stop waiting for someone to grant you permission to live the life you want to live. You don't need the world to co-sign. You don't need to wait for the perfect circumstance because it's not going to come. You just need to try to do and then correct if necessary. But I think so often people are just so afraid of trying because they're so afraid of people seeing them fail in public. And honestly, in the age of AI, your failure is probably one of your biggest sales strategies because it proves you're human and people can relate to failure. They can't relate to constant success. Nobody has that. Nobody bats 100. So the pressure that I can't let people see me have a lackluster launch, or I can't let people see me get, have a YouTube video with 10 views. It's like the YouTube video with 10 views is what got me here with tens of thousands of subscribers. I had to post when nobody was watching to become the person that could talk live with no edits and feel comfortable there. And so I just think this courage is what's required to survive right now. Like, you can't be timid. Like, that maybe worked in the past, in the 90s, but not this year. Not this year,
Not,
friends.
not
So
this year.
be brave.
You can't be timid. And I think a couple of things come up even as you share that. One, not as many people are paying attention to you as you think. They are going about their days and they are going about their lives. So we got to get over ourselves and be willing to hit publish, be willing to press send and do all those things. We have to be our biggest advocate. We have to be willing to bet on us. You mentioned about failure, right? I find on LinkedIn, my posts that do the best aren't the ones where I'm providing people with all these great frameworks and coaching tools, this and that. Those do okay. But the ones when I get real and I share them real stuff about the first time I bombed on stage in front of thousands of people, or when I had learned these other lessons, those are the ones people that they're going to lean into and pay attention to. And I'm going to go even further. And I found this in my coaching work that people I've done over the years. 9 times out of 10, what makes you most interesting, what makes you most fascinating, guess what? Probably is not going to appear on your resume or your bio. It's those things that would never appear on your resume or bio that make you unique, that make you stand out. It's those things that if you said out loud, you might feel a little bit embarrassed. Those are the things that create the connective tissue that get people to lean in and say, tell me more about that. That's just a huge opportunity. Last thing, you talked about being willing to do the work when nobody's watching. These days, I'm speaking to audiences as big as 5,000-7,000 people, and people say must be tough and must be nervous. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've given more talks to an empty closet, to an empty garage, to an empty hotel room than I've ever given on stages. I've given well over 400 keynotes. So yes, be willing to do the work when no one is watching, because that's when the magic happens.
And I will say this, and my membership, they know this about me at this point. You also have to embrace your weird. And let me qualify what I mean by that. I love when people who appear polished and professional just get real. My audience knows I love Bojangles. If they would just sponsor me, it would make my day. And I live beside an award winning biscuit maker at Bojangles. And when I'm trying to cut calories, I'll throw the biscuit in the woods, but otherwise, I'm going to eat the whole meal. And as silly as that sounds, as silly as it is for me to just own the fact that I'm a Southern girl who loves her fried chicken, it makes me relatable. And people have lost sales because their audience have stopped relating to them. You're going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to evolve. And it's great as a leader, as an expert and a coach and a consultant for you to own your zone of genius. But as soon as you stop being relatable, people aren't going to buy from you because they're not trying to buy your resume. They're trying to buy a relationship with a real person. And so sometimes share about the Bojangles, share about the time when you were prepared for that webinar and the landscapers decided to cut the grass outside your window. Like, these things really allow people to take that exhale and go, wow, they're human. Wow, I want to see them win. Wow, I'm a part of something real. And if you can do that, if you can allow yourself to show your whole humanity and not just the polished, perfect, curated version, you're going to find that sales come easily because people just want to support real people who can give them real help. So I just want you to know this is how it actually works behind the scenes.
Yeah, let me give you a real example of that as it works in my world as a professional speaker. Again, I'm on stages almost every single week. And for years, I wore that speaker uniform, slacks, button down shirt, nice sport coat, the standard speaker guy, reporter guy kind of thing. But that's not really how I dress in real life. In real life, I rock a good pair of jeans, I rock a dope t-shirt, and I always wear chore jackets like this. And sometimes I'll wear a hat. And I found that when I started dressing actually like me on stage, that embracing my weird, if you want to call it weird, who I am, it made me that much more powerful and magnetic on stage because I wasn't trying to be them. And guess what? I can tell you right now, when I go to speaking engagements, I don't look like anyone else in that room, primarily because of how I'm dressed. Most folks are in business casual or suits or this and that. And I come in as me, and I can tell that people initially, when they see me, they're caught off guard because sometimes I'll come on stage with a beanie as well. But then I see that convert for them like, man, I want to show up more like me. Maybe I should, in my book, Stop Living on Autopilot, I write about the uniforms that we wear, physical uniforms, mental uniforms, you name it, that are all like kind of blocks from showing who we really are because we're afraid of being seen. But in this day, I even grew my dreadlocks back. I had them way back a long time ago, and I said, now I'm bringing them back. I wanted my kids to see that guy. I wanted to see who I really am. So I love what you're saying in terms of embracing your weird, being you, and every single day just pulling back just a little bit from the uniform that you wear or that you use when you speak and how you show up. And it's like when you're writing that newsletter or email or you're speaking, like, what do you, I always like to ask this question, what do you really want to say? I hear you, and what do you really want to say to these folks? Because you kind of there, but you're hedging, you kind of giving an opinion. You're not, by the way, I'm talking to myself because I was a reporter for so long where you don't, well, it's changed nowadays. Every reporter is giving you an opinion, but you're supposed to be, fair and balanced, but most folks aren't. But for the longest time, I wasn't giving opinions. These days, I give opinions.
We got thoughts, and you can ask us about them. Now, I love that you have a really solid relationship with your mornings because I believe how you start the day matters. So please tell the people, what is the concept of a morning contract?
Morning contract is doing what you say you're going to do. And let's talk first about mornings because we always, first, we're asking the wrong question, LaShonda. We always ask people the question, what time do you wake up? What time do you wake up? Okay, I'm going to tell you what time I woke up today here in Los Angeles. I woke up at 4 a.m. Amazing, right? I'm not trying to impress nobody with that. But guess what question we never ask anyone? We never ask anyone, what time do you go to bed? That's the question we don't ask. Guess what time I went to bed last night? 8 o'clock. So I got 8 hours of sleep. So we're asking people the wrong questions. And in terms of the morning contract, there are key things that I want to get done before my family, before my wife wakes up, before my kids wake up. That's my time to set the tone, to set the tempo, to set the intention for my day. And I find that if I do some of these key things, it leads to a good day, sometimes even an exceptional day. And the reason why it's so critical to have that morning contract is because, unfortunately, nowadays, we talk about me time. Sadly, most people these days get their me time between 9 p.m. and midnight. That's when they'll have that drink. That's when they'll scroll endlessly and get, build up those thumb muscles. That's when they're on Netflix, Prime Video, Paramount Plus, you name it. But if your only me time is between 9 p.m. and 12 p.m., 12 midnight, odds are that's going to lead to a sleep deficit, so many different things that are going to lead to a bad day. So I'm up typically at 4:30 a.m. And I typically do what's in the 1 day method, the top five. One, I'm going to sweat. I'm going to work out. I work out early for a simple reason, because if I don't get my workout in early in the day, as the day progresses, responsibilities, life, business owner, kids, it's probably not going to happen. So I get that done. Second, I grow in some capacity. That could be reading 10 pages of a book, listening to a podcast, watching some of one of your episodes, learning something in a newsletter. I grow in some capacity. Third, I unplug. I unplug. Sometimes that's for 5 minutes, like this morning, just breathing and meditating. Sometimes it's for 10 minutes. The last two of the top five are connecting with someone. That's just hearing someone's voice in real time. That normally doesn't happen in the day. That happens at some point throughout the day. But I need to hear somebody's voice just to truly connect with somebody, because it's so easy just to text but not really connect with someone. That could be a short conversation with a friend or a family member. And lastly, I think what's most important is to finish something, big or small. That could be the draft of a proposal, those 500 words that you wanted to write, that draft of a newsletter, maybe a script for a YouTube video. But those are the top five. And I find that if I can get typically 3 or 4 of those done before my family wakes up. And my day is already a victory when I get those things done. So I don't like when people feel behind when they wake up. I don't like feeling behind when I wake up. So I choose to go to bed early so I can get up early and get my me time early as opposed to late.
Now, he does not know this, but I typed up the 5 things that I wanted to share just to see where we were in our alignment. And like, I'm going to show you what some of the things I wrote. You ready for this? Your evening routine sets the pace for the morning you want to have. Wake up early enough to tell your brain how you want to perceive your day. Less noise, more joy. Be careful what you feed your mind before you start the work for the day. Movement is medicine and a gift. If you can move, you should. The real daily decision is how you want to move today, not if. So when I tell y'all, birds of a feather, okay? Birds of a feather. This is real, guys. When you see high performing people, understand typically the common denominator is not education, it's not network, it's truly discipline and the desire to actually do what you say. We talk about this a lot. Think about that integrity gap. What is the gap between what you say you want and what you actually do? What you say you want and what's on your calendar? You have got to shorten the gap, okay? In order for you to really grow and for you to really make an impact on your life, you have to honor your own decisions for yourself. If you said, this is what I want, what steps can you take today to work toward that? And if you need accountability, if you need community, humbly seek that out. You don't have to stay where you are.
Oh,
So
well, I'm
I'm just
glad you said that
so
because
excited to hear you say
no,
all these
well,
things.
you said the word accountability. We got to talk about that for a quick second. I think because it's in this day and age, self discipline, if you got it, that's great. But the truth of the matter is accountability. And so many people write about this. It makes all the difference in the world. So, of course, accountability can be spending time with allies. These are people I say who encourage you, inspire you, challenge you, push you, hold you accountable, and test you to be the best version of yourself. So if you have those people in your life, in your community that hold you accountable, that's amazing. And I know there's going to be someone watching this saying, that's great, but I don't have those kind of people in my community. Well, here's the biggest thing. And I think the biggest, if we want to call hacks out there, I don't like life hacks and all that, but if there is a life hack out there, it's this right here. Be willing to write a check. If there's something that held me back for a long time, but I also see something that holds back so many other people, is that unwillingness to invest in themselves. That willingness to use your card, to write a check, to Venmo, Zelle, whatever you, PayPal, you name it, to be willing to invest in yourself. When you invest in yourself, big or small, it signals to yourself you're taking this serious. It signals to the universe. It signals to higher powers that you are in it to win it and you're not trying to be passive about this. And so a lot of people will say, hey, I hear you, but this isn't the right season. I don't have the dollars and cents to invest in myself. I must say that's a lie because guess what? You can be part of this community right here. I think for as little as $4.99 a month. I know there are other tiers, but think about that. Guess what? You can work with a coach. You can work with a nutritionist. You can work with a trainer. Those things don't have to be crazy expensive. You don't want to work one-on-one. Guess what? You can go join a group class of something to lower the price. You got good working out by yourself, show up at the studio for something. So if you want a shortcut to success, if you want to call it a shortcut, if you want something to superpower your road to success, be willing to write a check. It frustrates me how many people are unwilling to do so. And guess what? I once was one of those people thinking I could figure it out on my own. But there are so many people out there that have done or are doing that what exactly you want to do. And if it would take you this long by yourself, you write a check, invest in a program, join a community, it can shorten it by this much. But you have to be willing to trust yourself enough and to love yourself and to respect yourself enough to say, guess what? I'm going to write a check. I'm going to invest in myself.
Well, and I definitely think that I have realized as I have watched different online entrepreneurs have different iterations of their businesses, everyone keeps going back to community. And I genuinely believe that anything of eternal significance is not going to take place outside of community. We need each other. And so it's like you have got to just find your people. Okay. The fact that you need people, that's already been determined. You cannot do this alone. But find your people, whether it is in person, whether it's in an online group, whatever it takes to keep you accountable to your goals. I genuinely believe that so many of us just try to muster up what we think we need to get to the next phase, when truly what we need is just someone to walk alongside you. That's what the whole concept of body doubling is. It really helps you to focus, simply being surrounded by other people who are working to accomplish your goals. And so that's why I have the work with me sessions. People think I'm crazy to live stream for 2 hours, just leaving my camera on, no microphone while we work. But you can ask any of the members watching this live on YouTube. It literally works just to be in proximity to people who are working. So it's been tested. We have seen it over and over again. And so I typically will let you guys join us for free on Fridays, 9 to 11. As soon as that live stream is over, paywall going up. So you got to be there live, to get started. But I'm doing the
Listen,
best I can to help.
I might join, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this. And I want to remind people that as amazing as Chat GPT is, as amazing as Claude is, that's not community. You can get some
No.
shortcuts, you can get answers, but it is not the same as community. Would you agree with that?
Well, and not only that, but you're going to get answers, but you can't verify whether they're true or not. Look, chat be saying all sorts of stuff. I mean, truly, the other day I had gone in chat and I was like, "Chat, I'm having these symptoms. What do I have?" And as soon as I did that, I said, "Girl, call your doctor." Look, I chatted with chat. Dr. Dan, what do you think? I mean, the reality is there is no way for you to determine how accurate chat is going to be for your specific circumstances. Okay. So when it comes down to it, chat can process data, it can munch data better than almost any human out there. But when it comes to making strategic decisions with your life or with your business, you want a human involved, trust and believe, because they will know what they're talking about. So definitely don't put your hope in AI. You can have it assist you, but don't have it lead you or replace you. So I love that the format of your book is much more spoken word than your typical self development prose. And so I want to know what made you make that decision for your writing style.
Uh, that was a very unique book for me. I was in a unique state of mind when this book came out. If you read my book prior to that, Stop Living on Autopilot, a standard 55,000 word personal development self help book, standard like any other book, Atomic Habits, you name it. However, when I wrote the One Day Method, I was in a very unique state of mind. I had recently lost my home and my life due to the wildfires. I was in the midst of trying to find long term lodging for my wife and our kids and figuring out what our future was going to look like. So I was in a reflective, unique state of mind. I was more to the point, I was direct, but it also was feeling really philosophical about things, figuring out which direction I wanted to go in my life and how I wanted to pursue things. So I was not in that standard personal development, self help mode. So it definitely comes across as somebody described it recently as a combination of The Alchemist and David Allen's book, Getting Things Done, because it has philosophy, it has mindset, and it also has action as well. But I was in a really unique state of mind, and I wanted to honor that. It's funny, as I look at the book now, almost a year since it's come out, I can see how it's more poetry and maybe sometimes catches people off guard. And there was even a thought of mine, like maybe I should go back in and update that and make it more personal development, more self help esque, reference more studies and those types of things. But the truth is, that's where I was, and that's where I was in that scene, that season. And I'm going to honor that. And every time I think about changing the book and updating it, someone will come to me and say, "Wow, thank you for the book. One, I like the length, that is digestible. I like that I can read any chapter at any time. It's no problem." And for a lot of folks, it was refreshing that it wasn't like the standard self-help book. It was obvious that it was not written with AI. It's human. So It came from a really, really unique place that I wouldn't have anticipated. That's why that whole, I don't say in 5 years from now, what kind of book you're going to be writing? I never would have thought I would write the one day method. Now, for folks who want to get more practical, that's why I also created the one day method planner that takes that philosophy, that mindset into something tangible that you can use on a daily basis.
Well, you just queued me up perfectly to share your website. Wow. So we obviously have the one day method, which I've got my copy. Asia won a copy of it at our creator coaching call last month. You guys can get it on Amazon and definitely leave a good review because when it does well on Amazon, it encourages other booksellers to pick it up. So that is a great place to start. But I do want to talk about the companion. And I believe if I scroll down here, this gives some more information about the book. And it also talks about your book, Stop Living on Autopilot. So I'm
If
going
you
to
want
put
to see
that
the
link in the chat.
planner, you can go to the onedaymethod.com
Ooh,
if you want to.
ondaymethod.com. Yes, yes.
The
So
number
tell me
one.
more about it.
Yeah, about the one day method.
Hmm. About
Oh,
the
so,
planner.
oh yeah. So the planner again takes the philosophical, takes the mindset to something tangible, and it's really key. First of all, I think planners have gotten way out of control. A lot of planners feel straight up like another job you have to do, and I ain't nobody got time for that. So what I wanted to do was to create something, and there's a planner page on there if you want to click it up top. One thing I wanted to do was to create a planner that's simple that helps you get the job done. First, most planners start at 6 a.m. As I mentioned to you, most days I'm up at 4 a.m. So, this planner starts at 4 a.m. It starts with the most important question that most people don't ask themselves, and that is this: what will make today a success? Because that's your guiding North Star, your principle to take you. From there, we talk about the essential three, your three priorities for the day. In the book Good to Great, arguably the best business book of all time, Jim Collins says something to the tune of, if you have more than three priorities, you don't have any. So I want to make sure we have the essential three on there for people to know what's most important to them for that day. We have the top five on there that we discussed earlier, those five things that are research backed, that if you do them on a daily basis, even if just 10 minutes a piece, they'll lead to a good day. Sweating, connecting, unplugging, finishing, and growing. And the last piece on there, and I think this is important, is we talk so much about gratitude and having a strong gratitude practice. And gratitude is great. But what I have that's unique in the one day method planner is at the end of the day, you document 3 wins. And the reason why I say 3 wins is because the truth of the matter is, so many things go right every single day, but very rarely, if ever, do we hit pause to document them. What went great? What was a win, personal or professional, big or small? A win for me yesterday was walking around my neighborhood with my daughter and she was holding my hand. That made me so happy. A win for me yesterday wasn't business related. It was time at the beach with my son. Yes, y'all who are in cold weather, it was 80 something degrees here in Los Angeles yesterday. A win for me this morning before I left to get here, and I'm on West Coast, was a nice short conversation with my wife over coffee. So the one day method, it puts the key components of a day into something very essential and easy to use.
Well, and I also love that it's not for an entire year. So, what made you do it for just 90 days?
Oh, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I want a subscription model. So
Recurring revenue.
you need to buy 4 of those bad boys.
That's so
That
smart.
that's why I did that. Also, but the truth of the matter is, I wish I had brought my planner with me. I, I don't have time to carry some books that stick around for 365 days. You
Yeah.
can't tell, but this is a nice size planner, and so it's the perfect size. And again, yes, from a business model perspective, I want you to buy 4 of those a year, but I'm not doing it just to do it. I found for myself, I tested this thing. My clients tested this thing before I ever went into production with it. 90 days also is the perfect length for something to carry around with you.
I love that. Yeah. One of my favorite books is The 12-Week Year. And so I'm like, anytime people are like, we don't even need to focus on the whole year, people. Give me 90 days, give me 12 weeks. Like, let's be real. So I absolutely love that. So definitely check out both the book and the planner, guys, because I really do think that there are companions. And again, from a business standpoint, this is what we have to start thinking about is how can I, and I hate to put it this frankly, but how can I get more money out the same person? Okay, you spend all this effort growing your audience instead of you constantly being in pursuit of someone new. Focus on nurturing versus new. Marketing is changing, okay? You are not going to attract the new at the same pace as you used to because virality is just not happening like it used to. So with that model, you could easily, get more planners out of the same person who has, a positive experience with the book, a positive experience with the planner for the first time. And then, like I said, I just partnered with Lulu, who I absolutely love. And that's a print on demand company that can print your books. And so at the end of the day, like gone are the days where you need to have inventory of your planner at home, inventory of your book, you're shucking them around to all of these workshops and conferences. We've got to get smarter, guys. You have to learn to embrace leveraging tech to live the life you want to live. And so I really do try to connect those dots for you with practical applications of what some of these tools can do. But I just love that Antonio was just really real about the behind the scenes strategy for how things are. Even something as simple as if I go to his website, which I'm actually going to take. Look, you didn't ask for all this, but you on my show now. So here we go. But if we go to his website, what I love is sure, he is a speaker, and that is one aspect to what he can provide. But at the same time, I can go and I can look at his books on the same site. It's great for One Day Method to have its own home on the internet. But it's also great if I were to connect with him at a conference for me to know, man, if I want to stay connected, if I want to keep learning, here's something physical and tangible that I can purchase now that I've heard him in person, and I can immediately go and get what I need. Even meeting planners can go and immediately say, okay, I know he's a speaker, but what topics does he speak about? How do I get a hold of him? The quicker you can provide that information to people, the more you can reduce that friction, the quicker you're going to be booked and busy. So many of you already have exactly what you need, but your tech is not working for you. It's working against you because it's non-existent. So this is just such a great example of I was reminded about Antonio. We connected years ago through Clubhouse. I was just like lurking in the shadows. And Lex had Antonio on for an event, and I immediately followed up through LinkedIn, and we're here today. So this is how these things happen. And so I would encourage you, look at not just the book, not just, oh, he's a speaker, but look at how he's presenting himself online, because this is a masterclass in online marketing. And that's why I wanted to bring him to you guys today on both LinkedIn and YouTube for you to see in real time. These are the things that helped him to recover from such a massive physical setback. Physical setback, yes. Business setback, life kept going. And I think that's such a really cool story to share.
Yeah.
So
can I add one? I want to add something else that I think is pretty interesting, because you mentioned your partnership with Lulu and print on demand and how important it is. And what's
yeah,
fascinating that many of my books, 5 books, a few of them I have self-published. And here's what's fascinating. If you go to some of my self-published books on Amazon, you would think that only 8 people have purchased them, or my grandma or something like that. But what's fascinating is that what you don't see are the direct bulk sales. The reason why I self-published books early on was so I had something that I could sell at my speaking engagements. And guess what? When client X, Y, and Z, this person buys 500 books, this person buys 300 books, this person buys 100 books. Guess what? That doesn't show up on Amazon. So don't even be fooled by what you see on Amazon, if this book is done well or not. Right now, you can go to Amazon and look at the One Day Method, and you can look at the One Day Method planner, and you're like, okay, cool. But guess what? It doesn't show those hundreds of copies that the client purchased last week for that event that I had in South Carolina. It won't show you the 500 planners that this organization, now we're talking, B2B, that this organization planners that they purchased for their employees. So print on demand makes it, I don't want to say makes it easy, because you still got to do the work. You still got to write the book. You still got to create the planner. But it's not just customer facing. So I have sold so many books, books that have paid the rent, books that have paid the mortgage, books that have paid for the kids' dances that you would never see, that are bulk orders. There's some genius that you have right now inside of you that can be documented, obviously, from a physical book perspective, from a planner perspective, but more easily to a digital product perspective. So don't miss out on those opportunities.
Oh my gosh. First of all, we didn't have enough time together, but I really just want to like zoom in on this one thing that you said. So much of your success is not visible from the vanity metrics. I'm like, look, that is like story of my life. For the longest time, I had such a baby YouTube channel, and people are like, how are you supporting a team of 6 with a YouTube channel with 30 some thousand people? And I'm like, what you don't see is my affiliate game. What you don't see is my open rate on my emails. What you don't see is that click through rate. And so, friends, stop judging yourself based on the vanity metrics. They do not tell the full story. It is okay for your success to be in your invoices and not on your follower count, because that's what matters. That's what matters. So please do not get distracted by the wrong numbers, because Antonio is proof of it. I am proof of it. Know the right numbers. And at the end of the day, you still don't judge yourself based on numbers. And that's a whole nother live stream. But don't get caught up in that, because so many of you are going to make sales one on one because of a phone call, because of a text, because of a DM or an email. And that is perfectly fine. That money still pays the bills. So it's great if you have public validation for what you're doing. It's great if you walk into the grocery store and people know who you are. But at the end of the day, visibility is not what's paying our bills.
Something
Doing
changed for me.
good work
Something
is
changed
what
for me.
works.
Something changed for me today. I said, you know what? I'm okay if I'm rich and nobody knows my name. I am more than
Hey,
okay with that. And for that
I'll take
person
it.
right now, like to your point, that person right now, I do keynote coaching every now and then. And people are like, all right, great. So now I want to let people know that I have a keynote ready to go. And I want to, so I'm a post here. I'm a record this video. I'm like, slow down. Do you know that your first 3 or 5 speaking engagements aren't going to come from some random stranger on Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube? It's going to come from somebody that's already in your phone. You out here trying to connect with all these strangers, people that don't know you, that can't validate you, that can't trust you. Meanwhile, you have an email inbox full of people that know you, that trust you. You have phones of people you can reach right now, but we're embarrassed. We don't want to let people know that we're trying something new. But start here as opposed to pitching out into the ether. It's more than okay if people don't know your name. And as my grandma Ella told me a long time ago, God rest her soul, what other people think about you is none of your business. Because you keep thinking some of my books ain't sold nothing on Amazon, but the payments that show up every single month tell me something different.
Well, y'all didn't know you were getting a pep talk. I tried to warn you a little bit in the description, just a teensy bit. But guys, if you are not fired up right now to just go and be great and not care if anybody sees it, rewatch the replay, because that's the moral of the story. Take it one day at a time. You don't have to know where you're going to be in 5 years, even in 6 months. One day at a time. Keep the promises to yourself. Go to bed early, hydrate yourself, move your body, like the basics. Go back to the basics, and then you will have the presence of mind to show up fully for the people that you are supposed to serve. There is enough for everybody. Just because I got some doesn't mean there's not enough for you. Okay. We can all be successful. In fact, when everyone is successful, everyone is successful. Okay. So don't be afraid of celebrating other people's successes, because there is success waiting for you, but you've got to be diligent. You have got to master the small things, because that's what leads to big wins in the end. So I would encourage you, just follow Antonio. Find a platform that you like, stay connected, get the book. I mean, you can binge this on the train ride. You can binge this on your next flight. But ultimately, what you need to do is slow down long enough to focus on what matters, because the scatteredness is not going to help you grow. Growth happens in clarity. So get clear about what matters, focus on the numbers that actually mean something, and then find your people. Find your people somewhere on the internet, somewhere in person. Do what you got to do. Okay. But just get real with yourself about what you want and actually have the courage to pursue it. So, Antonio, I'm so grateful for you. I am so glad that you decided to share your wisdom as you rebuilt. And I would encourage you guys, go support the links in the chat, get on it, because it's a good read and it's a real encouragement.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a joy, and I love watching what you're doing, and I can't wait to see your growth. You can tell me. We don't need to tell everybody, but you can tell me. I'm excited to keep up to date with everything.
It's just the beginning, my friend, for both of us. And as we like to say on the channel, until next time, ta-ta for now.